This is the top 10 best episodes of the TV anthology show Monsters, which ran from 1988 to 1991. 3 seasons, 72 episodes, and these are the 10 best. I already did separate reviews of every episode, so I'm just going to go over why I think these are the 10 that are most worth watching. Starting with number 10. Season 3, Episode 10, The Waiting Game. That really starts things off with a bang. Some of these Monsters episodes have a slow build, but this starts with a nuclear disaster, and you actually get to see the nuclear disaster. We have Eric Tyler and his captain, Stanley Levitt, and they're army officers that are in a nuclear missile silo. And they are told to launch these nuclear missiles. They don't know why, they don't have time to ask questions, and that's where the episode starts, with the nuclear war already happening.
Confirm all systems green. And open silo doors.
Wait a minute. This is it? This is it? I thought we were goddamn deterrents. All systems green. Silo doors opened and locked.
Insert launch key.
Left.
Insert your launch key, Lieutenant.
340 megatons, man. 340 goddamn megatons.
Alpha, this is Headmaster.
And then we get the aftermath. They're still stuck in this silo, the weapons have been launched, and they can't go outside because of all the radiation. Why were these missiles launched? Who were they launched at? This is a great build-up, and since the TV show Monsters has to show a monster, it's not going to be just two nations fighting. There's got to be an Independence Day spaceship they launch these missiles at or something. And the low budget works well for this episode. Since they're stuck in this missile silo, it's an excuse to not show any outdoor locations. It also has a yellowish tint to the visuals. And in 22 minutes, they added a few more people to the cast and even a small love story between Stan Lee and this person who's stationed at another missile silo close to them, Maureen. You know something's wrong, someone goes out and they don't come back. They hear some howling, there's some pounding at the doors. And this has one of my favorite endings. It's sarcastic, it's hilarious, and it gives you that impending sense of doom. The Waiting Game is great, and I originally gave it a 9. In fact, all 10 episodes that I'm going to name, I gave a 9 out of 10.
Would you mind opening the door? What a pain. Oh! Hey! I have the answer. The 11-letter word for tenacity? The word is persistence. Oh, well, that's okay. We have all the time in the world.
The number 9th best episode of the entire series of Monsters is Season 2, Episode 16, Perchance to Dream, a dream episode. It starts out with the camera zooming through this miniature set and ending up in a college student Alex's dorm room. Special effects in Monsters is mostly just the monster costumes and makeup. This is a series in the late 80s, so before CGI would really take over. But this uses practical effects to a large extent, and I like it a lot. They'll never make an episode that looks like this again, using miniatures, using green screens the way this one does. I mentioned in my review that it looks like a FMV video game from the 90s, like Phantasmagoria. That's exactly what it looks like. Since the green screens are, a lot of times they use blue screens, the characters stick out way more than they do right now. They've gotten completely seamless. But it gives an uncanny valley feel. And Alex goes into this dream world. And this dream world is not just random things they throw at you. It's his subconscious, and it tells you about things from his past. He went to Catholic school, so he gets chased around by these nuns that keep trying to wrap his knuckles. We see toys from his childhood, and this train that keeps chasing him around since he had an encounter with a mugger on a subway. So that becomes the main villain of this dream world. You learn about Alex not through exposition, but through them actually showing. Here's the toys he liked. Here's his girlfriend. Here's what he thinks about his girlfriend. Well, he has wet dreams about his girlfriend. And I love the visuals in this one.
What's in there?
Nothing.
One of the most famous episodes is going to get the number 8 slot, Bond of Silk, Season 2, Episode 3. After I first watched this series, I got the DVD when it came out around 2018. I looked at some forums, and people were like, what's that episode? The one with the spider. There's like a big one with the spider. It's this one, Bond of Silk. It uses stop motion animation and a couple, Nash and Portia, that are on their honeymoon in the basement of this soon-to-be open hotel. They got a very good deal on it from a very unscrupulous dealer. And the room has a big hammock in it. Well, at least that's what the National Regional Tractor salesman Nash thinks it is. He jumps right into this hammock, and it's actually a spider web, and he quickly gets gobbled up. And they changed main characters in this one. For the first part, it's Nash, and then his wife Portia takes over, and she ends up battling the spider. She doesn't act dumb. She's able to defeat this thing, and even knows that you can cross certain parts of a spider web without getting stuck. The whole thing is not sticky. The frame of the spider web and what they call the radial threads are not sticky, which is how spiders are able to walk across the web, in case you were wondering. I used to wonder that as a kid. How the hell do the spiders not get stuck? Oh, they must just have sticky feet. No, they just know which parts are sticky and which parts aren't. And this thing is action-packed the whole time. They have a small setting, one-room location, but it's really thrilling. She's battling this spider. She's trying not to get caught. She cuts certain parts of the web, and then she has this elevator that she's going to use to try to crush the spider. It's great. Bond of Silk gets a 9 out of 10. And number 8 on our list. Number 7, an episode that really grew on me, Pool Sharks. Season 1, Episode 9. When I first wrote these episodes, I wrote out an entire script and I gave Pool Sharks a 7. And then I rewatched it and I said, no, this deserves a 9. The vampire Natasha is played by Rebecca Kyler Downs. That during my review, I checked out her music. She's now a jazz singer and ages like a vampire. She has been going around to rundown bars and being, well, a pool shark, which is a play on word for her being a vampire, and also literal pool sharks that go to places and make bets. And as we see in movies and TV show, and actually in real life too, if you go to a pool hall, a lot of times these pool sharks will pretend like they have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to play. They suck. And then they go, I'll bet you $20. I beat you in a game of pool. And you go, sure. And then you realize, oh man, they've just been faking this entire time. They're really good. She does something similar, except for in this pool game, she wants someone's soul. And the victim she's chose is a guy named Gabe, who's the only other person in this bar. And Gabe recently had his brother pass away, who was a victim of, well, Natasha. So they're both playing a game. Natasha wants to get his soul. Gabe wants to avenge his brother's death, while trying not to give away the fact that he knows that this vampire killed his brother.
Pool hall there.
Where you from?
Where are you from, Gabe?
I'm from Allentown, PA. Have you been there?
Might have been. I've been all over.
Ever been to a little bar named Pinky's? Nice little pool table in the back, right outside Allentown.
I really wouldn't remember.
Well, you'd remember Pinky's.
Curiosity killed the cat, Gabe. Why so many questions?
I heard a story about something that happened at Pinky's about a month ago. A beautiful woman came in to play pool. Guy she played against disappeared. Everybody in town thought he ran off with her. Except his family. They think different.
And what do they think happened to this man?
Something bad. Something truly evil.
Well, that sounds frightening, Gabe. But how could a woman just make a man disappear if that's not exactly what this man wanted? Doesn't that seem odd to you?
And it is tense, scary. It doesn't just sit around. Pool's there, they make shots, but they're talking the entire time, trying to figure each other out. And it is so well written. Don't write this off as just a pool episode. It's a mind game between two killers. And number 7 on this list.
Over.
I'm yours, Gabe. Have you ever made love to a vampire?
Time to pay the bet, Natasha. This one's for Bobby.
The number 6th best episode of Monsters is Holly's House, Season 1, Episode 2, the very second episode ever released, which really should have been the first episode released for this series since it's much better than the debut Feverman. This one revolves around a diabolical kid show, and while most of the characters in this kid show, Holly's House, are just people dressed up in costumes, dressed up like a bird, Holly herself, this Raggedy Ann ripoff, large Chucky doll, is actually an animatronic robot. It gives a different dynamic to it. Really, this is an episode about a robot coming alive and starting to kill people, and about the robot themselves feeling that they're just not getting enough attention on Holly's house. As she says, this is Holly's house, and she runs the place.
Gonna be some baby's house. This is Holly's house. Look at the ratings, you idiot. I wipe the floor with every kiddie show in this country.
Okay, Holly. Whatever you and Catherine want. I can move Mr. Mike.
His name isn't Mr. Mike. It's Lenny Wiener, and he's a loser. I say we dump him. Along with that stupid bird.
Okay, Catherine, that's enough. Lunch, 1 hour. Take off.
I want another take right now.
So while it might look like a kid show gone awry with a small person in a costume, it's actually a robot. And it has a very intriguing ending. And Holly is controlled by a conflicted girl named Catherine, who is hooking up with her co-host, Mike the Mailman. The show really does remind me of Blue's Clues. Maybe an inspiration. And we find out at the end that Catherine is put into a mental institution. So we're not sure. Was this robot just coming alive on its own? Was Catherine really secretly controlling it? It makes rewatching this episode a real joy, because you can draw your own conclusions about what exactly happened. But it has great production value, especially for this series. It mimics a kid's show very well, including having its own theme song. And there's some brutal kills in this one, where out of nowhere Holly just starts stabbing Mailman Mike, and you don't expect it. Holly's House is definitely worth watching. And number 6.
Right now. Now, Mr. Mike. Now! Over to...
Number 5, Glim Glam. Another Season 1 episode. This is episode 13. About an alien named Glim Glam, who looks quite goofy, but he looks like this because he's actually a nice alien. He accidentally crash landed his spaceship and began to accidentally, not his fault, spread disease around the town. We're not sure what planet he's from, but I guess they have a different biological makeup. And he threw a force field around this town and is now trying to find a cure because he doesn't want to hurt these humans. He didn't mean to crash his spaceship and didn't mean for this disease to spread and start killing people. This happens right before Christmas, so this is a Christmas episode. And the only survivors are a high school teacher, his daughter Amy, and one of his friends. They're in the basement of the local library, and they'll end up going into the library later on in the episode. So an interesting location. Glim Glam has a very E.T. moment with this little girl Amy, and she begins to trust Glim Glam. Knows that he's actually, even though he looks scary, well, he doesn't look scary, he looks goofy, but I can understand a little kid being scared of this costume. He just needs a little bit of her blood to make this serum an antidote to stop the disease from spreading, and then all will be well again. And there's a bit of a mix-up at the end, and this episode is genuinely sad. Rarely does Monsters try to hit on an emotional note. Usually goes for cheese, or thrills, or scares, or occasionally leading to comedy. But an emotional drama, especially involving an alien, no, we don't see that again, and that's why Glim Glam is so special.
You're all right?
I just plugged it in. Glim Glim made it to show us he's our friend.
It's the 24th. Christmas Eve. With all that's happened, we forgot.
Daddy, where's my friend Glim Glam? Daddy, please tell me you didn't hurt him. Daddy, You didn't hurt my friend Glim Glam, did you?
Number 4th best episode of Monsters is The Match Game, Season 1, Episode 18, featuring the angel Ashley Lawrence from Hellraiser, and also Tori Spelling. We have a teenage cast this time, and a cast that will go on to do great things. They pulled a rabbit out of a hat with this one. It perfectly captures the slasher B-movies of the 1980s, and is the only episode to do so. You put on a hockey mask, and this could have been a section of a Friday the 13th movie. So 4 teens break into a haunted house to play the match game, where they light a match, start a story, and then when that match burns out, the next person has to continue the story and light another one. I'm glad they went with this instead of them trying to do a Ouija board or something like that, because the match gives a very eerie aesthetic. They're sitting in this haunted house and their faces are only lit up by a match. It's very effective, like they're sitting around doing a campfire tale. Like in the other series we've been covering, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Herbert and Ethel met on the sly for several months. Ethel would sneak out of her house for their illicit meetings at the pond. But soon, rumors began spreading around town. And before long, they reached the ears of Ethel's jealous husband. One night, the politician locked his wife in the attic room. And he set out for the pond to lie in wait for Herbert. There was a terrible fight.
A terrible fight. But Herbert's bigger, stronger.
This is the original Midnight Society. And they awaken a monster within these grounds that then begins to stalk them around this haunted house. And it is so well done. This match game sets up the story, lets you know about the history of this house and this former owner of the house, Herbert, who was hacked up and thrown in the pond by a previous lover. And so you understand the motivations as they're summoning this thing. It's going to end badly for them. They also play this one seriously. It's a pure B-movie monster story, but it's shot so well in the part where he's in the attic smashing all the mirrors because Herbert hates mirrors, and they're trying to end the match game just as this thing is coming at them. It is one of the best sequences we see in Monsters. Match game rules, and I love Ashley Lawrence.
More fierce. As Herbert Waverly tracks down his last 2 victims.
All of a sudden, something outside distracts him. He's lured to the window. The storm lashes out. The sun is rising in the east, chasing away the rain, burning off the clouds. It is daylight.
Next up is number 3, The Waiting Room, Season 3, Episode 16, another episode that really grew on me. The previous episode, The Match Game, I instantly liked. I loved it from start to finish. But where that one was a thrilling monster movie with some gore and kills, The Waiting Room takes its time, builds up suspense, and comes off actually scarier than something like The Match Game, and deals with light and dark, specifically light and dark areas. A couple is on their honeymoon, and of course, just like every great honeymoon, their father decided to tag along. So, wow, talk about 3 as a crowd. And there's a storm outside, and they're staying upstairs. There's no one else in this motel. And we get to learn that the father brought them here for a reason, since he has some unfinished business in this hotel. And I've just never seen anything else like this.
Can you hear me? You've taken my husband away. You've taken what's mine. Give him back and I'll see that you get what you want.
Horror movies a lot of times use darkness to give you jump scares or to set the mood, but this one deals with people turning on and off lights. And if you walk into a dark room, well, a monster might appear. So the father, Benjamin, has to make sure every time he goes into a room, the light is on. This is also playing on the fears that everybody has when they walk into a dark room. Who likes doing that? Even when I come home from work and it's dark, it's kind of creepy when you first flip on the switch. I almost rather there be a light in the background that I can at least see what I'm doing. So it plays on that very real fear that you switch on the light and guess what? There's a guy with a knife staring at you. And it tangles a web of love, intrigue. You never know what you're going to get when you walk into the room. And apparently Benjamin having to think for ghosts because he sleeps with a ghost. It's very effective. I love the setting. I love the mood. And that's why Waiting Room gets number 3.
For you. Just for you. Yes. Bring your papa here. He's come to stay with us.
Number 2. Best episode of the TV anthology show Monsters. It's Far Below. Written by Michael McDowell, my favorite writer of the series, and definitely favorite writer of Tales from the Dark Side. He was a co-writer in Nightmare Before Christmas. He wrote the screenplay for Thinner. He wrote Beetlejuice. And he never just throws crap out there. He thinks through these stories and gives them intriguing characters and makes them feel realistic. This is episode 19 of season 2 and revolves around subway yetis. Yes, that's right. In this 1.5 mile track of the subway in New York City, they've got an infestation of these abominable snowmen that are going around killing people, so they need a cleaning squad to take care of this.
Those 2 spots of light, those are his eyes.
Barely. So what, you get another wino wandering around in the tunnels? What is that? Is that an old woman? No, don't kill it! Are you crazy? What is that thing?
Bag it or bury it. Just take care of it for the time being.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think you can understand now why I need the increased funds.
I don't know what that thing was.
That is run by Dr. Rathmore, who we will learn at the end has some weird sexual kinks and some rent-a-cop militiamen that he gives AK-47s to clear out these abominable snowmen. This is definitely not the best Monsters costume, especially coming off the 2 that I covered before, Waiting Room and the Match Game. But the writing is so sharp, he makes this thing believable. He was friends with Stephen King, they worked on projects together, and this has a very Stephen King feel, where Stephen King will make the impossible seem possible. A lot of horror sounds like a ridiculous trope. Abominable snowmen in the subway? Come on. But no, you can make it seem realistic. My favorite part is not the beginning, the end, or even the action scene where they're shooting up this abominable snowman, though that would be my second favorite, where they're shooting them with AK-47s. That part's awesome. No, it's actually the part where Michael McDowell does what no other Monsters episode does, but takes the time to explain exactly how Dr. Rathmore runs this operation. A nosy bureaucrat from the city comes in and wants to know why the city is giving Dr. Rathmore so much money to run this small part of the subway, and he wants to cut his funding. And Dr. Rathmore systematically explains why they need their funding. He talks about their pensions. He talks about the payment. He talks about the equipment they need. He goes into real detail to make this seem very possible.
All right, here's another. Why does a corporal working under you make more than an inspector earns outside?
Oh. We call it upstairs.
Why do you make more money than the police commissioner himself?
You ever hear of hazardous duty supplements?
Riding the subway is hazardous duty. I'm just trying to understand why your department is line itemized as a division of police services, while your appropriations are handled by a special committee every year.
A small part of the government knows that there's these subway yetis, but they don't want it to get out. This part is not explained, but is implied, and is so great. The writing is amazing. And that's what sets Far Below apart, the writing. The action scenes are decent, the ending is goofy, and the costumes are better when they're in the shadows. While Michael McDowell, like his mentor Stephen King, makes the impossible seem possible, and I love it. So now we get to the very best episode of Monsters, and it's going to be Season 3, Episode 3, Bug House. This was really close with Far Below, but the more I thought about it, Far Below has some flaws to it. It's not a completely perfect episode, but it's so good. Bug House, on the other hand, doesn't really have any flaws. And if there's one episode to show to someone, to get them to like this show, I think Bug House represents what this show is about more than the number 2 one I gave, Far Below. So Bug House is getting number 1. The sets look great. It looks much more modern than other episodes. It starts off like a late night drama with 2 sisters talking at a dinner table with these creepy crawlies skittering around. And I think it's just more memorable. Ellen is trying to get her sister May to leave this house. She hasn't seen her in a while, and she is noticing that her sister May is becoming a recluse. She's also pregnant from this guy who lives there as well, named Peter, who's a creep. May looks pale and sickly. Well, actually everyone in this episode looks very pale. The lighting is great. I love the way this episode looks. A blue hueish tent, soft piano music playing in the background, and letting the creepiness just linger without doing constant jump scares or lots of killings like other horror episodes do. And we learn that her sister May was always jealous of Ellen. She's the better looking one. She's the more popular one. She's the more successful one. And she's always scared that Ellen is going to take her man, as she has done in the past.
There's a tow truck in the village. He could pull you out.
You really don't want me here, do you, May?
I just think you'd be safer.
Your battery's dead.
What? You took so long.
I'm sorry. But I got all your favorites.
So while Ellen is the protagonist, we're supposed to be rooting for her. You do feel bad for May as well, since Ellen has not been the perfect sister, and, well, she's gonna try to take her man in this episode too. Flawed, but still relatable characters, a great set, where they show many locations. It's not just one room. They start off in the dining room, they go up stairs, whoa, into Peter's bedroom, and they'll do many shots of the bug vision. We'll put the camera on the floor and have it skitter around to show you that this place is infested by bugs. And we get the reveal at the end that Peter himself is a bug monster with a really grotesque ending, mixing Ellen having a baby, quote unquote, screaming, crying, blood. It gets grotesque, but it all makes sense at the end, and that's why I think Bug House is number 1. Everybody who watches this series likes it. It is as close to a perfect episode, from the acting, writing, pacing, and characters, while also taking the time to set a mood. One of my favorite scenes is when Ellen is just walking around this house, so you're not exactly sure what's going on. The music is appropriate, and once they do the jump scare of Peter, it is very effective and makes you think.
It's beautiful. All my children are beautiful.
Well, that's it for the 10 best episodes of Monsters. What's your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And next we'll be doing the 10 worst. And then we're done the series, I swear. That's all. Monsters is finished. You can check out our playlists where I reviewed every single episode of Monsters, though a part of me wants to redo those reviews since some of them are a bit short, but what are you going to do? Not going to do that anytime soon. And we also cover series like Tales from the Dark Side, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Black Mirror, Pet Java Horrors, and Cowboy Bebop.